So we will see how this guy goes. But for those of you who are returning, the channel is all about wellness, holistic wellness, what it means to really be at peace and balanced in life. Part of that, in my opinion, is being prepared. Well, prepared for what? Yes, on the daily, weekly, prepping meals and your outfits, things like that, make your life easier. We do that, we know that. But what about those moments of uncertainty? Of course, we cannot prepare for everything in life because life be lifing. But there are times when we know that there are weather events coming, snow forecasts, hurricanes, things like that that we have 0% control over and that might really stress us out. One way to help keep yourself feeling a little better in those moments, but your kids as well, is to prepare. You don't have to go full blown prepper mode with a bunker in your backyard. I mean, if you want to, go for it. Oh, hi, Fiona. So, if you don't want to go full in prepper mode and do all the things, okay, fair enough. I don't blame you. But preparedness is almost like having insurance. You're not going to drive your important car around without a little bit of insurance or, just the basic things like knowledge of how to use it, etc. You're going to have a little bit of thought that goes into the important things in life for you. So, it's kind of the same for your home, especially if you are a mom. If you've got kids, it's so scary for me personally to think about a snow or the power's out or whatever, and I can't feed my kids. Guess what, guys? If there's an event, DoorDash cannot bring you food. Grubhub cannot bring you food. Your Instacart delivery will not come. So just keep that in mind. There are a few really easy things that you can do that I will personally attest to the fact they will bring you just a little bit more peace, because you know in the back of your mind, all right, if the power goes out, we've got this going, we're good. It may not be ideal situations because emergencies or weather are rarely ever ideal, but you can really level those up. The first thing I always say to my kids, if we see that crazy weather is coming, which it does. We don't have the hurricanes, thankfully, but we definitely have tornadoes, snow, ice, craziness. Hi there. So the things that I really, really focus in on is you guys better charge your phones and your devices, because I do have a couple of solar power banks, which I super love. I got them for a beach trip actually, because a lot of times I'll try to be out and about or out on the beach all day and my phone will be dead when I'm in some crazy faraway city. So yeah, those are definitely things that are nice to have, but it still helps you out if you have them charged ahead of time, so you've got that battery life. And the other thing I really like to have is light. So we have flashlights, lanterns, all kinds of goodies, candles, whatever. But if you're just starting out and you have zero, nothing, then one of the best things to do is go to Dollar Tree and grab these outdoor lights. I think they're called like garden lights, something like that. But they do have the little solar thing receptor on the top. And I have a couple of these on the sun facing windows. You cannot see them. Like they're small. You're not going to notice them sitting in the windows, but the sun comes in and keeps them charged. So if we do lose power, which we have definitely, probably at least like 3 times in the last year, we've got a few easy lights that are taking no batteries, no effort. We know where they are. Grab them, go. That way, if you want to read or just walk around and not hit your toes on stuff, they're there. Another thing is, they're old school, but let me grab one of these because it's just in my window too. Not the plan, but these little radios. They're crank radios, and it's annoying to do, but the kids have so much fun with it. Like, they think it's so cool. They're like, wait, what? That's so weird. Like, it's not attached to the internet. I'm like, no, it's not attached to the internet, guys. Like, it's just the radio. So we do have several of these. Thankfully, I've not had to use them in any super crazy instance, but we did lose power in our subdivision, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago, something like that. and it was out for 3 or 4 hours, and this gave the kids a good 20-30 minutes. It also has a crank flashlight too, so these are like under $20 on Amazon and just kind of nice to have. We've got a couple of them, but they are nice to have, not necessarily for something long term because your arm would fall off by the time you cranked it to full capacity, but they're there. So if you're putting together any kind of preparedness plan, the main key is just to have something to start. Kind of like everything else, it's all the same, guys. Whether it's your fitness plan, just start. Whether it's changing up your energies, whatever you're working on, going back to school, any project you have, one of the key ingredients is to just start. So don't, if you go online, don't let yourself get overwhelmed with the crazy list, because some of them, if you print them off, they are 10 pages long. They are at least $3,000-$4,000 worth of stuff. And the thought of going out and grabbing all of that at once overwhelms most people. I do have a couple of friends who I'm like, okay, well, this is what you need. And they made a couple runs to like Lowe's, Sam's Club, Walmart, and knocked out the list. I mean, good for them. Like, that's great to just knock it all out, get it all in one day. Like, good for them. Most people do not really have the capacity to go spend 5 or 10 grand in a day's notice or just on the moment's notice. If you do, do that. But if you don't, start somewhere. So I think the easiest place to start is just grabbing something. If you have something at home already, great. But Walmart has these super small tins. They're square. They're not very heavy. It's like around the $10 mark, something like that. Nothing crazy. It has a good lid and it has a handle. That's why I like that one, because it has a handle. So if something happens, I can pick it up and walk out, do whatever. Hi, Christy. Welcome. So grabbing some sort of container to keep your stuff in is key. The big one that you will hear about if you watch any of the preparedness channels, or if you look at the list, like FEMA has lists, most states will have a list, or if you are in a hurricane area, you're going to see those lists flashing across the TV when they are giving, you know, those forecasts, like, hey, make sure you have water, food, etc. So water is big. We have water from a couple different ways, so that's not a huge priority for me as far as putting in this thing. Plus, water is really heavy. So yeah. And I know a lot of prepper people really like the life straws. I have gotten a couple of life straws because I like to hike. So I wanted to test that thing out. I'm like, okay, it's not very heavy. I'm going to take it and just kind of see. It does work. Water doesn't taste weird. But to be honest, the thought of me doing that to test it out for fun, no big deal. But the thought of my kids, like a little line of children, walking around with life straws looking for like puddles in our neighborhood, not realistic. So go there, don't go there, totally up to you. But water is good to have. Not necessarily all the water that you would need for a given time, but some that are just right there. Because if something does happen, even if you saw the forecast, you may not be fully prepared and fully ready for whatever it is. So you might just need a drink. It is kind of nice too to keep some of the water packets, different flavorings, things like that. They don't really do much to the water except make it taste a little bit better. The reason I say that is because these guys last forever. They don't really expire. So it's something nice to have. I will say they get a little hard if you've had them for too long. Like if you ever find some in your car later, not necessarily the greatest or tastiest, but still, if you've been drinking bottled water for a week stuck in your house, I'm pretty sure you're gonna love the taste of tropical splash water compared to just plain old bottled water, for sure. So some flavoring packets is definitely nice. One of the big things that I like to have is fruit. And I mean easy fruit. I have tons of fruit in my fridge and probably on my counters, things like that. So of course we're gonna go through that first, but having something that I could take with me if something went down is nice, and something that's not so sticky, messy. Like if I just imagine like if I've got a flashlight or a lantern on me, I'm not trying to cut up a pineapple. Not gonna be my priority. So easy fruit. Again, look at the labels, see how long they last. Most of these are around a year at max. So it's something that you would have to kind of keep track of, but having some fruit. Well, I have a lot of us, so I can't just roll with a 4-pack. Gonna have to stack multiples, but again, even this super small bucket, I can put 3. It's one little ball of it, no big deal. Meat is the other thing that I'm going to want. We've got a barbecue grill, fire pit. Like, we could cook if we needed to. We could find a way to cook, but I'm really not going to want to do all of that. I know me. I'm going to want to kind of keep the kids at bay and entertained and kind of just relax. So the easiest of the easy, in my opinion, from all of my power out times, is like the package, whether it's tuna, salmon, whatever. These are $1 and they have a bunch of different flavors. So I super love that. Like, I don't have all of the same flavor. I have a ton of different ones. Some of the kids really like these, some do not. But literally, like, I'm totally cool to eat this out of the package with a little throwaway fork. Or like add a little packet of Miracle Whip, something like that. Whatever. Like, it's easy. It's $1. Like, it's better to have and never use it than to be like, oh my gosh, we need some protein. We're starving, we're angry, whatever. So, easy thing to throw in a box for those what ifs. Another really easy one that I like is the prepackaged bacon. This lasts a long time as well. It doesn't have a ton of them, and they definitely do taste better a little bit warmed up, but you don't have to do much to these. And if you have bread available, stuff like that, you can make like a quick sandwich, like BLT, something like that, that tastes good. It's easy, very, very low effort. And if you don't have those other things to go with it, you can still eat this. My kids like bacon. I like bacon. It's not the same as that thick cut, perfectly seasoned bacon, no. But in a pinch, it'll work. Super lightweight, maybe $3 to $4, so worth it. There are a ton of different brands that will make, I don't really know what these are called, like they're bagged versions of different stuff. So this one is chili with beans. I have not tried this one, and they do say to only prepare things that you and your family like. We do like chili. I make really good chili, so I don't know if we would love this chili, but it just seems so easy that it was worth a shot to add to the bag. So a couple of those over, like, Fritos, something like that would be an easy meal in a pinch, and it does not have to be warmed. I would definitely warm it, even if in some small capacity over a few candles. I definitely would warm it, but it's not required to be warmed, which is nice. One thing that I've seen but have never purchased because I just feel like it's a little extra in this area at this moment. Who knows? I may change my mind. But they have these, essentially, I can't think of what they're called actually right now, but they have these ovens where instead of the heating unit at the bottom, it has a little tray that you pull out and put a ton of tea light candles in it. So you would light like your 24 tea light candles, and it will cook food through. Like, you can make cornbread, you can make pie, you can make anything that you would make in your oven in those. They are super pricey, but they have a lifetime warranty. So they start at around the $500 range and kind of go up from there depending on the size. And then obviously the tea light candles, you go through those. They only have a couple hours of burn time each. So you would need a massive stock of candles if you were going to use that for long term. But depending on where you live, if that's something that happens often and you are without power for a week at a time, or if you don't have a fireplace or another easy option, it is something that's out there. Us are the solar options. Those are nice if you live in a really, really warm climate and we don't even need anything. Like, if you're in Arizona and you're at 115 degrees, you don't need anything. You can put on a rock and cook what you want. But if you are in a warm area, those solar ovens do cook pretty well. That was a science project we had in school to make them and try different things out, eggs, pizza, whatever. And surprisingly, it works. It's good. Another thing that I think is super important to have for your little emergency box is some nonsense, like candy, because it is a mood booster. Whether for yourself, your kids, whoever else is around you, having some mood boosters is huge. If you've got pets, having some treats right there, whatever that looks like for you, but have your mood boosters in there, just because It's better to have them than to wish you did. Oh, great point in the comments right now. There is definitely a high possibility of unrest. They've been saying that for months. And even other countries, some of their news has reported like they take it to the extreme of, maybe a civil war or something like that. Hopefully it does not get to that point and everyone can remain calm. But in any time of trouble, it gets crazy. Like we saw during the pandemic how crazy the stores can get and how quickly. That was the time that really sold me on the things that I had done to prepare for us because we had a cow. So when I went to the grocery store and saw empty meat aisles all the way down, that was something I'd never seen in my life ever. No chicken, no beef, no anything. Like there was nothing on the shelves. And I had a whole cow at home. So at the time, I was managing a bank and all of my employees were like, dude, like after the first like week, like we don't have jack. Like we're running on nothing. Like it's like air, crumbs, whatever. And a lot of the restaurants were down too. And most of them were young college students. Most of my employees were. So they were used to calling or ordering a pizza or door dashing or whatever. And all of that shut down. So like, okay, well, I guess I would just cook, but yeah, the way the grocery stores are set up right now, there's nothing in there for me to cook, and I really don't even know how to do a lot of that anyway. So there were so many days when I would bring in like just basic stuff, like here's a roll of hamburgers, some cheese, some buns, whatever that looked like, or toilet paper. You guys remember how crazy it got? Like when every single store had signs up, limit one package, like all of that. Or, hey, yeah, that's where the toilet paper should be, but it's gone. And when it restocks, it's gone within 3 minutes. There were people standing in the toilet paper section at Sam's Club. Like, I don't think I can forget that. There were people standing in the toilet paper section so that when the stockers came, they could grab it because they knew that it only restocked every few days. And if they didn't get it, they weren't getting it. So I do love to buy my toilet paper at Sam's Club because there are a million of us. That's a lot of butts, okay? And it's just so easy to have it there during COVID, during craziness. We did not worry about toilet paper. We did not worry about paper towels, hand sanitizing wipes, food. Like we had it really easy. I will say I had a little dabbling in making bread and things like that beforehand, but I was very spoiled on the fact that I could just walk in, grab the seeded bread that I liked, and walk back out the store. And when I couldn't do that, I'm like, wow, okay, well, making bread is a little more time consuming than what I'm used to because I was still working this entire time. Like we shut down for a couple of days here and there, but that was it. So I was there all the time. And then at that time I had 4 really, really little kids. So on top of work, on top of all the normal, stuff like baths and whatever else that you have to get done, cooking became a whole other level of challenge because I really learned to work with whatever was in there. I did not want to go into the store and drag 4 little kids out, especially 4 little kids who did not want to wear masks or, have their faces covered. Like they were small. They were little kids at this time. My oldest did, I feel like, okay with it, but my youngest at the time, she was only like, I guess she would have been about 3 or 4. So she was small. So trying to put anything on a toddler that they don't want, even if it's shoes, basics, yeah, not a good time. So I was so thankful that there was such a well-stocked pantry in my home that I could make stuff happen. Some of those basic things that I may not use on a super regular basis, like pancake mix. What is that, $2-3? How far can that go? It can go so far, whether it's just you and a partner, you and a million kids. Pancake mix can go so far. Flour, sugar, all of those basic things you need, you really do need to have ready to go. But as far as just that one and done, let me get a few things ready for that emergency that could pop up at any moment, have those items that are mood boosters. little things, little snacks that are pre-packaged that you can just hand to kids is also one that I'm a super big proponent on. Yes, like Sam's and places like that will have, plastic versions where it has a lid and they do last a long time, but portioning out is probably not something that I would want to do in that instance, just because who knows, like, how clean are my hands? How clean are their hands? And having it already pre-portioned is just so nice because you can just hand it to them and move on, especially if you're working on something else. Like, there may be a tree that falls and you're trying to get the roof patched up real quickly, something like that. Having easy items are so nice. The fruit strips are nice. Anything like that, you just definitely have to look at the package and see what those expiration dates look like, because you don't want to have items that are spoiled or bad and run through a case of getting sick on top of a disaster. Another really easy one that I super love to have is the instant oatmeals. My kids like them, I like them, and they're really filling. So if it was a situation where we know we may have to travel somewhere else or walk, walk somewhere, I think, or even just a big move around. If there's something where we're gonna be expelling a lot of energy, there are some really good oat bars out there, but also the oatmeal instants, like you can cook those in a matter of minutes. If you can get your water hot, you can have these. I do see more of the cups out now, and I think the cups are something that I'll probably incorporate in my next little restock of this bucket. These still have some time on them, so not quite yet, but I think I will incorporate the cups just because it's so easy to dump the hot water in and be done. And anything that doesn't have to be refrigerated that you like can get added to these. The peanut butter cups are great. Again, very short shelf life, but if you're going to stay on top of this and add this to your system, it's great. In January and June, every 6 months, just go through, refresh, take out anything that may not be good anymore, and you've got something so easy on deck if the craziness ensues. Another thing that I am adding that I've never had in any of my kits before, and let's be honest, I've done this for a very long time for a ton of different reasons, is broth. These have so many good ingredients in there. I'm used to having them now as something to break a fast with. So I like the taste. I don't know if my kids will or not, but in a pinch, I feel like people tend to be a little more open to have something rather than nothing. So each of the packets has 10 grams of protein and 5 grams of collagen. It's not a ton of calories, 50 calories, so you're not going to, do everything with it. But it is something nice to add. And if it were cold, if it were a snow situation, having this for myself and maybe the hot chocolate packets for the kids is something so easy where you can get water hot one time and work it through multiple things. So with one hot pot of water, I could have broth, they could have hot chocolate, they could have either, a soup, something like that. If it's late in the day, there's so many possibilities of what you can do with one item of hot water. And when you can't just turn your stove on and boil it, that matters. Trust and believe it matters. It's a lot more work to get heat when you have no power. If you've never experienced it, play with it. Just go a day or a weekend. Turn off all the lights in your house and just see what it's really like. We did this once or twice just for fun. Like, we made s'mores on our fireplace and stuff, like, just because we just wanted to see what it was like. And then within probably 2 months is when the pandemic hit. So it's like, okay, well, I'm glad that they kind of can see this as a game and fun, and their stress level can stay low. And so did mine, because as a mom, those kids mirror you and they feel your energy. So if you are calm, cool, and collected, guess what? They are too. But if you are super elevated, stressed out, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Then their little nervous systems are gonna feel that and become elevated as well. In addition, yeah, okay, charge the tablets, things like that. Of course, kids love their devices, but have so many good alternatives ready. Have books in your house at all times. Interesting books for them too, not just yourself. Have items they can color. All of these things are so cheap or even free. You really have no excuse to not have these things ready. Have some entertainment, have notebooks, paper, markers, crayons, all of the things that would entertain you for hours on end if those devices just magically were no more. That's always a possibility. It's a real possibility for us. And we're all so attached to, phones, tablets, TV that we forget that those are a luxury. We do not always get those. We do not always have the ability to have them. So everyone has their own personal taste. Definitely do whatever works for you, but do something today. Do something to prepare you and your family for what if. Even if it is just that couple day convenience bucket for now, great. You already have that? Okay, what's your next step? What's your long-term pantry look like? Do you have any long-term food storage? What do you have available for what if? It's not a lot of money, not a lot of time investment, but what it is a lot of peace of mind. And that's priceless, honestly. It's peace of mind for you when you know that you've got a game plan. You know you've got something set up for yourself and your family for those crazy, weird situations. We're living in crazy times. We have been for a long time now. And life just happens for real. Like, even if everything is going great and smooth, there are still tornadoes, fires, whatever. I have also heard several stories where especially like the long-term pantries and things, really came in and saved the day for families when there was some other unexpected item, like a job loss. If you are paycheck to paycheck or close to that, having long-term food storage is kind of a big deal. If that check stops coming in and you're used to going to the store every week or every couple of weeks, and the check is no longer coming in to do that, not everyone is available. People always say, well, if I lost my job, I would be able to get assistance or something like that. I don't think that's how it works. If you have, 401ks and savings and things like that, just because you don't have employment now does not mean that they would just show up and give you assistance. That's not how it works. They're going to say, okay, well, deplete your own resources before you can do those things. I don't know all the specifics on that, but I've definitely read and heard some stories where they're like, I just assumed that I could get, food stamps or whatever because I'm not working now. And that was not the case. They suggested to, actually, this was a few years ago, but they suggested to a friend of mine that she sell her car and get a less expensive car instead of trying to apply for whatever benefits she was applying for. She was like getting out of a relationship, and they told her she should sell her car. And it wasn't like a great car or anything that she even had. So I feel like if she sold her car, she would still have to get another car. So that made 0% sense to me. But don't let stuff like that be your backup plan, that someone else will help me. Yeah, they may try. And there are different resources. Like, there are some food banks that we donate to and stuff like that. There are some resources out there. But think how much better you would feel. How much better could you sleep at night if, instead of having to say, I hope someone helps us, you can help you and you already have it ready to go. And you don't have to worry about finding food for yourself or your family if something pops up. It's right there. I look at it like insurance. I feel like that's the best way to look at preparedness. It's just like insurance. Like, I hope I never need this. I may never need this, but if I do, I'm going to be so glad that it was there. So that is all. I just wanted to jump on and talk about that because I feel like wellness is more than just the face mask, the bubble bath, the self-care that we can really do to ourselves can go so much deeper than just the outer. It goes to our whole lives. Every part of us, every experience we have is part of our self-care. Really taking good care of ourselves is setting ourselves up to win, right? For the future. And this can be part of that equation. Well, thank you for joining, guys. It's Sammy J here to glow up, grow up, and give all the necessary information to take good care of yourself and those around you. Have an awesome holiday, and I'll see you guys soon.